need the Jeopardy clock, which clock music? Yeah, exactly.
It goes by that clock.
Chair Liebelt, we're ready when you are.
Thank you, Christina. Welcome, everybody. Good evening. I will now call the November 12th, 2024 Public Arts Commission meeting to order. May we have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Mojica,
Present.
Commissioner Marks,
Present.
Commissioner Stouter,
Present.
Vice Chair Travis,
Present.
Chair Liebelt.
Present. Okay, for the agenda finalization, are there any changes to the agenda?
There are no changes, Chair.
Thank you so much. Then we have public comments.
And Chair, I'll go ahead and read the statement of
Thank you.
participation for you.
Thank you.
This is the opportunity of members of the public to comment on any items not appearing on the regular agenda. Because of restrictions contained in California law, the Public Arts Commission may not discuss or act on any item not on the agenda, but may briefly respond to statements made or ask a question for clarification. The chair may also request a brief response from staff to questions raised during public comment or may request a matter be agendized for a future meeting. Public comments will be limited to 3 minutes. And we do have one request to speak from Vice Chair Baishu from the PACE Commission.
Good evening.
Good evening to you.
Commissioners. I'm Antonio Baishu. I'm the Vice Chair of the Arts and Community Events Commission, and I'll be your new liaison here. I'll be coming to your meetings from now on. And also, I just wanted to say that the reason I jumped to this is because the collaboration that we did on the Benches event, where Chair Liebelt, you were so gracious that my helping on that. And then Vice Chair Travis had an event where he was promoting our yoga program, and that's what we should be doing, supporting each other. So thank you. I'll see you guys around. Bye.
We agree 100%.
Thank you.
And I did not receive any further requests to speak, but if you are a member of the public and you wish to comment on this item, please raise your hand. And I see none.
Next, we have the approval of minutes, approval of the October 2nd, 2024 special meeting and October 8th, 2024 regular meeting minutes. Are there any corrections or changes to the minutes? And do we have a motion and a second to approve both sets of minutes?
I move.
I second.
Chair Liebelt, I apologize, I forgot on your script. We do need to ask for public comments before we take that
Oh,
vote.
so sorry.
Are there any members of the public that wish to comment on the minutes? I see none. Okay, so we have a motion by Vice Chair Travis. And who was the second by?
I second.
Commissioner Mojica? Okay. Please vote. Motion carries, all ayes. Thank you.
Okay, moving forward for our agenda. The first item on the agenda, we're going to introduce Eric Besserell. Is that correct? Sorry, I'm going through puberty again here. The city's new economic development manager to the commission. And may we have the introduction, please?
Yes, Chair. It's my pleasure to introduce my new colleague, Eric Besserell, to the city. Eric is, he's the new stone for us. So Eric is overseeing our economic development efforts with his partner in crime, Victor, who's helping him out. And Eric has a very wide background and a variety of experiences here in the Coachella Valley and elsewhere, and has also already given me some good points of contact related to arts-related funding. So I just wanted to take the opportunity to introduce Eric, give him a few minutes to talk to you all about what he's up to in helping promote the city, and just be able to put a face with a name for you. Eric, I'll turn it over to you.
Yes. Good evening, commissioners. Thank you so much for the opportunity to come here and speak with you all. And thank you so much. First, I want to say how amazed I am by all the impacts that I've seen you all already do in my short time here in Cathedral City. I've been visiting for a while, but now working for the city, you get a much better insight as to all of the impacts that you all have in this community. I think it's phenomenal. You should all applaud yourselves for really stepping up and trying to bring forward something unique for this community that is just long lasting. economic development plays a pivotal role in any community, but I believe most importantly, it provides things that are intrinsic in value, such as cultural equity, things that people see as social spaces that they can really be at and really tie to themselves, which continue to not just provide, I think, an economic impact, but a really long-term stable impact that they're able to continue to give back, take care of those spaces that they visit. So everything you all do is very important. I hope to continue to try to make these connections on showing the actual economic impact that art has in Cathedral City. I've been able to really connect some really key players, I think, here in our community that hopefully continue to bring more funding. Art sometimes isn't seen at the top of the list, but I believe it is. And I think I'll continue to speak on that as I'm here. And so with that, I'm very excited to bring forward some really unique ideas and some vibrancy to this community that I think is something that you guys should all continue to be proud of and continue to work for and fight for. And I'm here as a resource too. Ann knows that any ideas that you all have, please feel free to share them. I'm one call away. I'll make sure that you all have my contact, my cell phone number. You guys can always reach out. I love hearing about all the projects. Sorry I couldn't make it to the bench. I'm still in school, but I'm finishing up my master's program, so almost there. You'll have me 1,000% here shortly as soon as I wrap that up in December. But I'm definitely here and look forward to connecting with each of you. I'm also a coffee person, so if you all want to get Hot Lips coffee, I've been using that as my new meeting space. So feel free to reach out, and I'm happy to connect with you all. And I'm here to answer any questions.
And did you know that one of the artists that painted the interiors there was also one of our bench artists?
Oh, really? Okay, that's amazing to know. That's wonderful. So yeah, hopefully we'll showcase a little bit of that. With Victor and I are going to be touring. We're touring already this city, but we're going to be kind of highlighting different little video segments and really connecting and doing cool things. So we'll be using the bench project as one of those. So, but yes, here to answer any questions or comments you all have.
Where were you where were you before you came here to the city?
So before Cathedral City, I was with Desert Hot Springs. I was in different roles there, building official. I oversaw community development, worked in economic development. Then I worked in housing and different community type projects under the city manager's office there. Before that, I was with Indio. So I worked in Indio, and prior to that, I worked in Colorado. So been in public sector for about 14 years. Almost 15 now, actually, yeah, 15 years.
That's great. I'm just curious too, how, as a commission, what can we do to support you in your job, your role in trying to bring, like businesses and development? What can we do to help you and support you?
I think you all know the community more than anybody. You're seeing it from a different viewpoint. So if there's something that you feel is needed and really should be highlighted in the community, or even requires funding, I'm a great person to really connect certain dots. I'm a great connector, as I would say. So feel free to throw any and all ideas. Nothing is too far-fetched. I think the art world really plays a pivotal role in any community and has been able to shine so many amazing parts. I mean, you can see it from Detroit to certain parts of Las Vegas, just even speaking on a broader aspect. And even if you look at San Diego and how they were able to revitalize certain areas, art really does do that. And I really hope I can really tie that art component to projects as they come forward. Ann's already, brought so many neat ideas, and as we see projects come forward, we always want to make sure to try to figure out ways to incorporate artwork, and it's only going to benefit them in the long run. And so, yeah, any and all ideas, I'd love to hear them all, and just continue being an advocate, continue doing your part. Being a public servant is a really important thing, and you all should be really proud that you're sitting there. So.
Anybody else? Any other questions?
Thank you.
Everybody good?
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here, and welcome to the city. We're really, really pleased. We're really happy to have you.
Thank you.
Do we have any requests to speak on this item?
Chair, I did not receive any request to speak, but if you're a member of the public and you wish to comment on this item, please raise your hand. And I see none.
Since this item was for information only, there's no formal action necessary, which means we're going to move on to B, We're now going to discuss the 2025 quarterly arts exhibits at the Cathedral City Library. May we have an introduction, please?
Certainly, Chair. As you know, Commissioner Travis brought forth the idea last year, well, actually this year still, to host 3 art exhibits in 2024 at the Cathedral City Library featuring local Cathedral City artists. The exhibits were held May 18th and 19th, August 24th and 25th, and then this past weekend on November 9th and 10th. And this really was an opportunity to showcase the depth of talented artists that we have present here just in our local community. So I just wanted to give Commissioner Travis the opportunity to talk about how this year went, and then Vice Chair Travis and Commissioner Stoudard are going to be the sponsors for the next series coming up. And so I'd like to just turn it over to them.
Great, thank you. I really appreciate Don's help. It's kind of fun to have somebody help you out, so that's good. But this year, in the last 3 shows that we had this year, we had 7, an average of 7 per show, and we had 18 different artists. We did have some repeat artists, but I feel that with the response that we got from the artists on the benches, that I have a feeling when we do call for artists, it's going to be a lot bigger. I'm anticipating that we'll probably have each show be different artists, so that's pretty exciting. This last weekend we had the show, and on Saturday we had 83 visitors at the library and sold some art, and then also we had 65 on Sunday. Sunday's a little slower. I think there's a brunch factor in there or something. After brunch factor.
I think there's also a lot of competing events going on now that we're back in season, so.
Yeah, that's true. And I wanted to thank the commission for the display grids. They worked out beautifully. I think they worked out pretty good, yeah. And the artists were very happy to have them because they weren't able to hang things on the wall, so art always looks better displayed hanging, so that's great. And then next month, we will be doing a call for artists, and that's pretty exciting. And the new dates for next month, I got cleared through Ryan to make sure it didn't conflict with anything else and the library. It was February 15th and 16th, May 24th and 25th, August 23rd and 24th, and November 15th and 16th. And I think that Don had brought up a great idea about when we do a call for artists, we're going to do 2 calls. We'll do one in December and then another one May or June for the rest of the year. The reason being that planning all the way to November at this point is kind of far away for a lot of artists, that they move around, they do all kinds of things, and I think that way it gives people an opportunity and some new artists to come in too. So they can apply both of them, I guess. Yeah, absolutely. And so I'm looking forward to having that as too many of them as a problem, a good problem to have.
So for the applications and everything, is it pretty much the same other than changes of the dates and for just the 2 at a time? Okay.
We just went over that before the meeting.
Okay.
How is the, how do you do the call for artists? I mean, where do you promote it at? Where can we find it?
Well, we promote it through mostly through the Discovery.
Through what?
The Discovery newsletter that's online.
And that's what the city's newsletter.
I see that all the time, but are there other areas? Because I just,
We did it through social media. We did it, I've been kind of starting to maintain a list of artists just from people who have submitted for these different calls of artists that we've done so far. And so whenever you have another call ready, I'll send it to that list. I've been sending it to like any of the arts organizations out here, Perez Arts District, the Desert Open Studios, the Joshua Tree folks. So on my part from staff, I've been just trying to broadly send it out to anybody that I could figure out that's involved in the arts, and I've just been trying to keep a database of that so that I could reuse that for future calls. So that from a staff standpoint, that's what I've been doing to try to help promote it.
And I think we all sort of enhance that through our own networks too,
Yes.
right? You guys send something out, we take it and forward it on to everybody we know, and so that's kind of the way that it's gone out so far.
And a lot of times when we're out, we'll just have somebody stop and ask us how to do that. And for me, I'm figuring out the best ways. I'm encouraging them to go and sign up for the Discovery online newsletter because they get everything every Thursday. And so anything that comes out, that's the freshest spot for them
Yeah.
to look, you know.
What kind of traffic do we have on the Discover Cathedral?
I'll have to find out from Ryan what our viewership is of that. I don't know off the top of my head, but I can find that out for the
I'm
commission.
always promoting it, people aren't even like aware of it, so I just, I guess it's got to be word of mouth, for me at least, so.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that we did find, this is 2 years ago when I first came on with the city, there had been some surveying that the city did, and one of the main ways that a lot of people in our community still get information is either by printed materials from the city. So there's like one mailer that the city sends out, and a lot of people still identified that piece of mail, that brochure that has a lot of our environmental things, and then some of the other city events was that. So we know that we are still missing portions of our community just with electronic communication.
And
Old
also
school,
during
so.
the call for artists for the benches, you did the local news. That really helped a lot. So-
Well, just a comment from me, I went Sunday, and I thought I'd be there about 20 minutes or so. I was there for like 2.5 hours. I mean, I love the opportunity to talk to the artists. I mean, I love that about the bench project too. And it was like, I really like getting people's input on like their process. And it was great. And I really love the artists that were there on Sunday.
That was a lot of feedback I've gotten from the participating artists, is that they got to know each other and hang out with each other for a weekend, and they've become friends pretty fast, I think.
Yeah. How we did it last time was we did that all electronically, and then since Vice Chair Travis was the person sort of coordinating it, all of those applications went to him for review, and then he did the coordination with the artists. We set a mandatory pre-meeting for the artists to come together and fill out any paperwork, liability forms, and things like that, and get any instructions from the commission about displaying their information about that there is no charge to the artists to be able to display, and they can sell their wares without having to split any of those proceeds with the city. So it's a really nice way to be able to support artists wherever they are in their journey, and to be able to make money doing their art. Okay. So for the, just for staffs, we'll do a call, and then I think, commissioners, if you just want to give me the deadlines that you'd like to receive the first calls by, to give you time to make selections and do everything, those would be the only deadlines. And if you have any dates that you would like to include in the call for the mandatory meetings.
I'll get that to you.
So that's not something we need to decide tonight?
If you, I don't think it's something that you as a board need to do, but if it's something that, being that it's kind of administrative to the process, that they can just get me that and we can upload that into the application.
Perfect, great. Does this require a vote then?
No, we're okay, but we do need to ask for public comments.
Okay, I was getting, okay. Any requests to speak on this item?
I did not receive any requests to speak. If you're a member of the public and you wish to comment on this item, please raise your hand. And I see none.
Okay, so moving right along. The next item is regarding select process for soliciting public art piece for Esperanza Park. May we have an introduction, please?
Yes,
Sure.
it's pulling up. Excuse me. So we've had various conversations over the years about the art piece for the park. Whoops, I'm on the wrong item though. Sorry. Give me 1 second. at our last meeting on October 8th, the commission had a robust discussion about the process of selecting an artist for the entryway piece for Esperanza. And first and foremost, I think in the discussion that you had was this, I think, unified thought that ensuring that the voice of the Dream Homes community is heard and that the residents are involved in the development and selection of an art piece for this project, consistent with every other action that helped to create the park, from just the initial concepts to what activities the residents wanted at the park to the naming of the park itself. And at the last meeting, we discussed that we have two PACE commissioners, Commissioners Jimenez and Herrera, who had led the engagement with the community in the park's development and naming, to possibly be a resource to coordinate with, to maybe do some listening sessions with the community, to perhaps get some feedback on what they'd like to see in an art piece that is representative of the neighborhood of the park. And then from that, we would then need to prepare an RFP or an RFQ to solicit interested artists to solicit an art piece. And that could be in one of two ways, either an RFP to just put out to artists and say, we want an art piece, we've taken input from the community, and you select from that, obviously with the community's involvement, or an RFQ process where maybe you do a call for artists, you come up with a few artists potentially that you think aligns most with the project, work with them to engage with the residents, and have them prepare some concepts that ultimately the commission would recommend for approval. This project will be funded by the Art and Public Places Fund, and I think after you get through this process of deciding on what the best way is to have some discussions with the community, and kind of deciding which way you'd want to go, we will need to prepare a budget to go to the City Council for approval, so that we can have that approved, probably a not to exceed amount, to go out with the request for proposals project. We want to be able to give artists, a scope of what the value of this project is, because I think that's going to also, determine who might be an interested bidder who's done projects of that scale. And, a $20,000 project versus a $60,000 project, might get different artists that, might consider submitting on that. So I think tonight's discussion is to, further discuss what you would like to do in terms of engagement with the community before that process happens, and then sort of work towards getting that document prepared. And that's something staff will prepare the majority of it, but we would want to make sure that we get the input from the community, input from the commission on, any specific guidance that you want to put out to the artists for what this art piece is going to represent, or, what the community's hope is for this art piece. So this is more of just a continuation of the discussion that was started last time, so that we can get some direction and kind of move these efforts forward to communicate with the residents and then actually do the call.
Have you guys all thought about this? And so we brought this up. And because I think the other thing is, I thought about coming up with a budget amount. Is there any direction from the council about like the percentage of the budget that we have, or did they have any, or it's really up to us to determine like the amount of what we think would be?
It's really up to the commission to kind of make that recommendation. I don't have the current budget numbers in front of me, but I think it's roughly around $240,000 roughly that's currently available in the Art and Public Places Fund. This fund, the amount of money available in there the money is only available as developer fees come in. And I think as you've seen, the amount of developer fees, maybe between $14,000 and $50,000 in a year. So it does replenish what is used, but it's not, we haven't had a huge influx of funding that's come into that. So if say you've spent $200,000, then, once those funds are gone, it would have to build back up again to be able to do something else. The council, on top of that, there is about $100,000 of that is set aside above the $200,000 that's available for spend as a kind of a reserve fund, so that if, a critical piece got damaged or something, that there would be funds available to potentially replace something that was lost.
Right.
And then all of the maintenance, as we've talked about before, all the maintenance costs, the annual maintenance costs, those have all been taken out of this fund and are now funded under the general fund under a separate budget.
Mr. Chairman, do we have folks here tonight that want to tell us a little bit about what they think the community would like to share with us?
Were either of you prepared to speak about the community engagement?
We do have the two commissioners that were involved in the project since the beginning, and so I think they would be best to talk to you about what their efforts have been with the community and maybe some suggestions for you on connecting with them as the Public Arts Commission.
Yeah,
So
for me,
either,
that probably needs to happen before we talk about a budget, right?
Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening. Good evening. My name is Mario Jimenez, and I'm involved with the community.
Commissioner Herrera. I'm also one of our liaisons from the Peace Commission.
Right, yes. Welcome. We're happy to have you here. So I know in the past there were conversations with the community, and I believe at the school in that neighborhood. Were there public conversations, or were they in homes, or how was that done before?
So there was several different avenues that they went through in order to go and get the name for the park. So Commissioner Jimenez went out into the community and asked for residents to come up with which names they preferred for the park. And there was a lot of different names that came back, but Esperanza Park was by far the furthest, above all the names we got. And then we also sent out mail flyers out to the residents of the community. And then same thing, Esperanza Park was one of the highest ones that came back. And then we reached out to the local elementary school and asked all the kids what they would like for the name of the park. And, Esperanza Park was one of the ones that we got a lot of other, the Happy Friendship Park and
There's some wonderful
snakes,
dynamic
turtles,
ones.
and dogs or something. It was a lot of creative names that came out of it. But yeah, we did have a lot of community involvement when we were looking for the naming of the park. And so I think our focus with the park has just been to make sure that the park that is there represents the community of people that it is made for.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, how would you suggest we engage the community to figure out what kind of public art they'd like at this park?
And so, because what I was going to say is, what I'm here is community engagement, but I don't hear there were any face-to-face conversations. It was all through mailings or email, but there was no face-to-face.
The door-to-door
Jimenez
part.
You
went door to door? Oh,
yeah.
wow.
And
Sure hard.
Commissioners, were either of you involved in the development piece of the park and getting community feedback? Because I understand that there were some community meetings in the development of the park itself, correct?
Yes, we have a group. They belong to the neighborhood, and that's the ones that we get involved with it. There was 5 members of the board.
Can you step a little closer to the microphone? Thank you.
Yeah, there was 5 members of the board for Dream Homes area. So we went to most every single resident about the name, about the what that you guys can do for us to put the name, to figure out the name, and they find out this is something that we want to see if you guys be available to do it for us on the plate with the name and everything on it.
So you've brought with you, it looks like, an example of a piece of public art that you're interested in us considering.
Yes.
Okay. Just wanted to be clear about that, sorry.
I'm sorry.
One of the butterflies to there, we wanted to put more butterflies in the front, which is
Really
one
nice.
of
That's
them
a great idea.
to give you an idea what we need, what we want.
That would be like the entrance, you're saying, like the entrance to the park?
So there is an entrance sign that's going to be separate from this piece. So there is going to be a named sign that designates the
And
park.
that's what this is the name sign. So you would like the actual sculpture to be a reflection or
Whatever
in
reason.
relationship to this sign?
Yes, sir.
Sign of the name.
I'm a little unclear, Ann. So what you drew is the entry sign that you'd like the city to put there as opposed to the piece of public art that we're
No,
talking
in
about.
addition to.
Well, and I guess I can clarify a little bit too, because we've made this presentation to your commission, but not to the Public Arts Commission. So there's sort of two opportunities. I know that through Public Works and the project, there is a sign that will have the name of the park for Esperanza Park. Separately, as you drive into the park, in that center sort of roundabout area, that is the opportunity that we're talking about of doing a piece of sculpture or something, some kind of public art piece that will be reflective of the community and have the input from the community of what they would like to see there. Well, I think the commission I think we've just had a really contemporary example of a piece of art in Palm Springs that was intended to, I think, be reflective of the AIDS epidemic or
Memorial,
something.
yeah.
And the community response was just visceral. It did not represent what it intended. And so I think the commission really wants to make sure that we have an opportunity to talk to the residents of the community and get some input of, what does the park mean to them? What are images that they would like to see as part of this art piece? So as this commission goes out and solicits artists, that we can try to put all of that input into the solicitation.
I would suggest you to do kind of flyers with the picture of whatever that members of the community they decided to do. And from that point on, you're going to find out if that sign that we did is pretty good for them to, for you guys to do the sign, the entrance sign of the park.
I have a few questions. May I?
Yes, please.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, first of all, for being here today and for your previous work on this park. I just have a few kind of methodology questions. They're pretty specific. So when you were going door to door, were people just telling you their ideas and you were writing them down, or how did you actually collect that information?
I go to, basically, people just give it the name to us, and then I wrote the number, the address, the name of the person,
Okay.
and the phone number. So that way, in case anything happen or any other questions that you guys can do, you can call them direct, and you can find out why do they decided to that name, and they decided to the name of the park, like the one that I showed you a few minutes ago.
Okay, thank you. And then over what period of time was it? Like how long did it take to do that initial outreach?
They takes probably about 2 weeks.
Okay.
And the only reason that we want the flyers to send it to every single homeowner, that's because we cannot reach everybody in the neighborhood. Okay, because most of them, probably about 65%, they have gates. So we cannot get it into them.
Right.
So basically, the ones that I collect, there was the people that I contact face to face.
And then for the mailers, last question, was how did people submit it? Did the mailer ask them to email in or call in, or what was kind of the action that people were asked to take for the mailer?
It's going to be really hard when you send the flyers to get a response, because they happen with the name. They sent to every single homeowner, and the homeowner, what they did, they returned only probably about 5%. With the
I
name.
could find out how it was. I can't remember what it looked like, if they had the opportunity to email it in, or if they had a self-addressed stamped envelope that they could send it back in. I can find out from Public Works who facilitated that.
I remember.
would like to just kind of, we have the opportunity to kind of brainstorm a little bit here, but probably not as much time as we would like to.
Right.
I would, we have two commissioners here that I think maybe if you guys put together a subcommittee, we could kind of maybe brainstorm some ideas and come back with different, options of what we could do. But I really like the work that was done down on the Baringas Bridge, with the individual artists and their, the drawings that they had like imposed on tiles. I think that if this was something where we were going to look for an art piece that was going to be in the center of the community, I think we could set this up to where we could have maybe 4 artists on the side of, something that's functional art, like a light post or something along those lines. And then that way, if we put out an RFQ for artists to send in their proposals, we could send out to the community, these are the ideas that we have. Out of these ideas, what do you guys like the best? And I think along with that, when we send out the RFP or RFQ, we could send it out with a brief description. This is the community. This is what, this is primarily who lives in this community. This is where it's located. These are the lands that they're on. And then that way we can kind of give the artist a sense of an idea of who it is that lives in this community, and then they can come back with the art pieces, and then we can present them to the community and see which ones they like.
Yeah. And I think we also have the opportunity of using the school as a location for a meeting to bring community together.
That's my
well.
thought, is exactly, I would love a face-to-face and not waiting for responses. Part of this is, it's time sensitive, but it's not really, because we want to do what's right for the community and with no time pressure. The park is scheduled to open probably in April. And so depending on the kind of whatever sculpture monument we come up with, if it can be realistically done in that time, I would really like to do, and I know between the holidays coming up, it might be tricky. I would really like to do a community meeting rather than door to door, where everybody gets a physical mail or whatever, and if they want input, to come and put their input. Then that gives us a chance to see what it is that we're putting a call for artists out for, to get their input first. So I think we need to try to do a community meeting as soon as possible.
Do you think that'll work in your community?
Do you think they would show up? If we did a meeting at the school, do you think they would come?
I attended the one they had before, and it was well attended. It was very well attended. Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. But see, people there, they kind of afraid because they promised to that neighborhood for a long time so many things. So the people, they're afraid to attend again into the meetings because they hear that you guys just only, not you guys.
We understand.
Only promises and promises and promises, and
Right.
they tired about it,
Right.
to tell you the truth. And that's why they won't attend to the meetings. That's why they won't return any kind of ballot that you send it to them or talk to them. And most of them in that neighborhood, they're retired people. So the only way that you can reach to them is gonna be to send out flyers. That's the only way that you can reach. Because if you try to do it by online or anything like that, it's not going to work.
I think it kind of has the option of doing both. We could send the flyers out early, and on the flyers, with presentation of the art, we could also set up the public meeting.
I understand. Here's the thing. We can't do a presentation of the art because we really want to understand what kind of art they want. So we can't really, we really want their input to tell us, like you just said. In my brain, I was thinking big metal sculpture. You're saying 4 faces, different images, that kind of thing. We need their input to even know what to put out, to say that what we're looking for. That's why I'm suggesting we try to do it as soon as possible. We can't correct what's happened in the past. We can only show our sincerity intentions of going forward. With this other situation that happened in Palm Springs, I would see the beginning meeting, so we have their input, an update meeting to be in the process, and then when the final selection, I see that there's a series of meetings in that process so that they are kept abreast and they know, and they're involved in the process. But I do think the face-to-face, so that, it's not a door-to-door thing, and you said gates and people not being home, so we can only try and offer them that opportunity. I understand the reluctance if they don't show up. I would hope that they would, and we could all, try to encourage them as much as possible, but I would like to do it, I know, as soon as possible, and I'm just trying to think realistically how soon that could be.
A combination of all those things you're talking about are great. I think the importance is that we want the community to know the process that we're, and that they're part of it.
Yep.
No matter what we get done in the first meeting. And I think that I would be willing, and I'm sure I can talk to Antonio, who does all kinds of things all the time. We could hand flyers as people drive in, because it's a pretty isolated little area. I don't.
Well, I think there's opportunities of, the city could do a mailing to each household in the neighborhood. We could probably work with the school district for any of the families that have children in the school there to
that's
send
what I was
things
thinking,
home
if the school-
through
yep,
those
yeah, yeah.
distribution things, to invite individuals to this initial meeting. But I think also, as you've all identified, having multiple ways and making sure that everything is done both in English and Spanish. And what I would also work with is seeing if we could, at the point that we have a public meeting, making sure that we could try to have translation services available as well, so that the full component of the meeting is able to be translated for the individuals attending, so that there isn't any disparity in how everybody's given the information.
Right.
And also, you never know. There might be an artist in that community or a relative who's an artist who that'd be awesome. And they would have that opportunity to be part of that selection.
Yeah, one of the best ways that we found out to get the names and the logo of the park is to go door to door. That's the only way that we can find out, what they really want. Because remember, in that neighborhood, people don't care. If you go to talk to them person by person, they're gonna listen to you. But if you send flyers to them, soon as they got them, they're gonna be in their trash. That's why we decided to do a committee. We have 5 members of the committee, of our committee, that we're going door to door to ask them. And they seems to be like they work because they work with the name. So that tell you that the best way to be is just going door to door. That's it.
So, Commissioner, is there still an active group of residents from that neighborhood that are kind of meeting to, or that could possibly help coordinate maybe some outreach into the neighborhood?
Yes.
That'd be wonderful.
Yeah, we are 5 members of the board.
Great.
Yeah.
What is meant by community? I keep hearing community.
Oh.
Is that the city of
The
Cathedral?
Dream Homes neighborhood.
So the Dream Homes neighborhood, is that a relatively new development, or has it been around forever?
One of the probably oldest communities in the
really?
city, or one of the older
Okay.
communities in the city.
And do we know what the makeup of that community is? Is it across the spectrum? And what do we know their dreams, their hopes, their desires? Do we know what they're looking for in living here in Cathedral City? Maybe that's something we get in feedback when we have our first meeting, but also whose the district is it on the city council? Who represents it?
Sure, Gutierrez.
Who?
Councilmember Gutierrez.
Is there maybe an opportunity for them to join the first meeting,
He was at the prior meeting.
Was he? Okay.
I think that, if just getting them something started, if we don't get everybody, at that meeting, we talk about how do we get everybody?
Right.
And then maybe everybody can help everybody. That would be good, but.
And maybe your group can help us get the word out. We can all do this simultaneously, right?
Sure.
I would be happy to join any kind of door-to-door efforts, especially being bilingual, if it's helpful to do that.
But I think that,
So, being that, Chair, you and Commissioner Mojica are the current subcommittee for this, perhaps that's a conversation maybe that the 4 of you could have to come up with some ideas of maybe dates or that we could look into to potentially target some community outreach. I can look into what we did send out for the naming that went along with the door-to-door effort. And also the exercise that was done with the students to get their input. The kids had just some great ideas, and they drew pictures. And again, probably, potentially for an artist, having that sort of creative vision from the community or from the youth of the community might be something that inspires or helps inspire some of the art.
I do think for that first meeting, obviously, we should have some guidelines for the community or clearly outline whatever the constraints are of the project so that they, they can come up with things that are appropriate. I don't know how much we've shared in the past in terms of like budget or that kind of thing, but maybe that's not important, but like at least dimensions, here are some
I think
examples.
it is part
right?
of what our discussion tonight, and isn't that correct about budget? I think I had put out a number that I had in my head.
Well, and I don't think you need to decide on budget tonight.
Okay.
I think following this process that you're doing, getting some input from the community, because I think as Commissioner Herrera said, I mean, we're I think thinking of like a art piece, a sculpture or something. Maybe as you're going through this process, if it was something else that will drive what your RFP is. But I think maybe having that first community discussion, getting some feedback that way, and then from that input, then deciding on your process and deciding on the budget might be the more desired way than trying to come up with a budget number tonight when you haven't sought that input yet.
And for certainly, I wasn't referencing that for tonight. I just meant in time, at least for us to be on the same page, in time for the first community meeting, whenever that is, in case questions come up on the spot.
And the thing is, so then the city council will be aware that we may not be on timeline, right, then for the official opening?
I think we all expect that. I think we're right now to try to believe we're going to get there by March is probably unrealistic unless there was just some magical piece that everybody loved and you had the opportunity to do the engagement on it. So I think realistically, I agree with, I think Commissioner Stouter said the last time, we have to be on task and we have to kind of try to develop a timeline for this, but we have to do it the right way. And now that I think you have the opportunity to really focus on the engagement with the residents, focus on putting that call out there, I think we'll have time to get that before the council, get authorization for a budgeted amount. And like I said, I'm not looking for, budget for fabrication, artist fees. I want to get authorization of a not to exceed amount so that the artists know that of that amount that has to come up with their fees, their fabrication, insurance, anything else that they might need to put together for that project. But I don't think that needs to be done tonight. I think tonight you deciding, or at least coming together with the PACE Commission on, developing more fully the outreach strategy and what support you need from staff to be able to do that, then we can help get that scheduled, get that organized, get you materials. If there is something that, you collectively decide you want to go door to door, we can print flyers, we can, do those kind of things to help support it.
So that's a decision we need to make tonight? Or are we putting it in, we talk to that and talk to them?
I think perhaps you as the subcommittees from both commissions get together and, see if you have some other ideas. I think we all know that we've had experience in that neighborhood where the PACE Commission has gone door to door and talked to people. We've had community meetings that are construction consultants that help build the park, help facilitate. We've done mailers. So I think any of those opportunities are available to you as a commission to talk about art and kind of another phase of this project of, the park's going to be done, all the amenities are going to be there, the community's going to have use of it, and, kind of this final cherry on top is going to be this entryway piece. And how does that reflect the community? How does that reflect the name Esperanza, and getting, how to help the community have this sort of esoteric discussion about art. Because I think art's, what as a friend of mine said, art's like belly buttons. We all have one. We all have opinions about it. But how do you facilitate this discussion of getting input so that it can be shared with the people that are actually going to produce it?
And I think once we get a discussion going and setting up however we're going to communicate with the community, what will happen, I'm reading some things that Ann has shared with us that other people have done public arts works, is that we might end up bringing in some artists to meet that group, right, and just not even just to get the feeling of who they are, and then see what they come up with too.
Yes.
Yeah, it might be some.
And I really agree with what Commissioner Mojica said too, that I think as you go out, it's defining what the parameters are. I don't think, the community isn't going to be the one like, research or like reviewing RFPs. That's going to be something staff's going to do, in conjunction with the Arts Commission. I think you really do want, that feedback from the community going out front of, what you're looking for. And then as you either narrow it down to a few concepts or a few artists, then I think, as you said, Chair, then there's that other opportunity of here's these concepts and, what's the majority of the community, how do you feel about these? And then, being able to celebrate and, a final concept and then ultimately the installation of that. So I think, but you also don't want to give like, well, you're going to be like reviewing all these applications, that's really your role as a commission, but what that art means to that community, how they feel about it, how they feel about the community, how they feel about the park, and how this piece represents that, I think is the conversation that I think will help us develop that proposal, help build a stronger proposal.
I just want to mention one thing about one of the things you sent out. The white paper on a process for following through with an RFP that even talked about, the possibility of initially choosing more than one artist and then following through on a presentation process. If you guys haven't had the chance to read that white paper, please do. I think it's a really, really good process and one that when the time comes, not yet, but when the time comes, we might want to consider using.
Yeah.
I just wanted to be mindful of Commissioner Jimenez's time as well. Did any folks have any other questions for him or do you have any other questions for us?
I'm just going to tell you one thing. The residents, actually, there's supposed to be 580 people in the neighborhood, but there was, including the condominiums that are by Ramon and San Luis Rey. Those condominiums, they get it community. We cannot get it into it. I don't know why they put them into the count for the neighborhood. Then they doesn't belong to Dream Homes anyway. I don't understand why do they put them into the count for the Cathedral City, for Dream Homes. I don't understand. So you're never going to get any response from them in the beginning with because they're independent.
We could give the opportunity to get a response. That's the best that we can do, and I think that's what we need to do, and hopefully we'll do our best to do that. But I really want to thank you for all the hard work you did on getting the name, and it's a wonderful name.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Yep, we look
you so
forward to
much.
working with you.
We'll need to set a meeting, I guess, right, for the subcommittee.
And I'll make sure that you all have your contact information so that you guys can connect. Oops.
Any requests to speak on this item?
Chair Liebelt, we do not have any members of the public present.
So I guess we're not making any motions that need to be approved.
Nope.
So we're going to move on to the next item, which is number E, and report out on Ocotillo Bench painting project and ribbon cutting event.
You missed D.
We need to go to D
sorry.
first.
That's because clearly, okay, sorry, consideration of going dark or changing the meeting date for the December Public Arts Commission meeting.
Yes. Commissioners, we do have a conflict with our next regularly scheduled meeting on December 10th. The City Council has a scheduled special council meeting that night in order to adopt the election results and to appoint the mayor and mayor pro tem, and then issue the oath of office to the newly elected council members, the mayor and mayor pro tem. So the question that I wanted to propose to you is whether you wish to go dark during December and just have our next regularly scheduled meeting be January, or if you wanted to try to find an alternate date in which to meet during the holidays.
We don't really have anything pressing then, other than if this is going to be subcommittees working on this other project. What's your thoughts, Commissioner Marks?
Well, I guess since there's a subcommittee working on this other project.
Commissioner, can you speak into the mic, please? Sorry.
Since this, I get it, okay. Yeah, if you're like going this out to subcommittees to like in the next month to handle the details of this request for artists, call for artists, whatever we're calling it, with the group meetings and stuff. I guess we don't need to meet to like have any official business, but on a personal note, I'd like to have us at least meet somehow as a group, for a holiday party or something, and not discuss anything.
So we can't meet as a group unless it's a.
No, he means to have another meeting. We just scheduled a different date. That's Commissioner Mohican.
Yeah, I think if we can advance the community outreach discussion into the subcommittee, I don't see why it would be a problem to have recess in December and reconvene in January.
Yeah, the council does recess in December, aside from our first meeting. So we'll have the meeting on December 10th for the swearing in, and then December 11th will be our regular December council meeting, and then they go dark. So they're dark the second meeting of November and December because of the holidays.
How do you gentlemen feel?
Dark.
I think, Dark, there's so many activities that are going on.
Okay.
Okay.
But I would add that if you guys feel like you need any help with your subcommittee, because that's probably the most important work we're
Remember,
doing
there
right
can't be
now.
more than two.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, but thank you for the offer. No, thank you for the offer, yes. Yes.
Right, well,
So at this point, any other requests? I guess we've all spoken on that. So do we have a motion and a second to approve? Or do we need to get
So
public comment?
let me ask just a clarifying question, Christine. So if we canceled this meeting and our next regularly scheduled meeting would be January, if there was a determination that there was some action that the commissioners were ready to propose and wished to schedule a special meeting, would they be able to do that with 72 hours notice, is it?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay.
And there are a few days, the Tuesdays are going to be a little hard, but we have some other days that we may be able to do if you need to. Okay.
Just wanted you to know you had that option.
Okay, so do we have a motion?
And Chair, we have no attendance in
Oh,
the
sorry,
meeting.
comments.
Yeah,
I'd
there's no
asked.
one in here. I just want to let the public know we have no members
Okay.
present.
sure, I move to cancel the meeting of December.
I second.
Okay. Motion by Commissioner Strouder and a second by Vice Chair Travis. Please vote. And motion carries, all ayes. Thank you.
Okay, jumping forward, jumping back. Now we move on to item E, which is the report out on Ocotillo Bench Painting Project. And ribbon cutting. May we have an introduction, please?
Yes, Commissioners. I just wanted to kind of put this on to just put a final pin in it publicly. I just, personally, I really wanted to thank all the commissioners for their hard work on this. This was a really fun project. And for me, being the staff liaison for the commission, this was kind of the first sort of thing we've made together, and was just really, really happy to have met all of the artists that were part of this. Their, I think, excitement for the project, their energy to do something positive for the community was just really something to behold. And I just loved watching them do their work together. I loved the collaboration that they had together, and just loved seeing such a wonderful turnout I think throughout the time that they were painting, and as well as for the ribbon cutting. So I just, for me personally, I just wanted to say thank you. I think for me, there's probably some lessons that I've learned about benches and coatings and things like that, that if we do another project like this, that I'll keep in mind for the next time. But I just think it has really made a very positive addition to that park. And I just thank you all for your leadership and contribution to that.
Anybody else have any thoughts? Like to speak on this?
I really enjoyed it too. It was really amazing to get to know all the different artists, and I think they, again, enjoyed working together. Some people told me that they've done things like this before, and they did them individually, and they really liked the idea of being in a group. And I thought that was cool. I didn't even think that they would do it individually. But
Patrick, that who was on the Arts Commission for Palm Springs, he just kept commenting about just how well this went, how interactive. I think the commissioners, the donuts and coffee were like a huge hit, and just said that it set the bar high for any other events, just because of how well I think everyone was treated, and just the support that the artists had from all of you.
And I think the unveiling was just great. I think that the entertainment that Commissioner Mojica got together was awesome.
They were really good.
The ice cream was really good. I just think it was a really positive event. We had a lot of people turn out. It was pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love the kids. I love the families. It was a great event. It was like my first official event, I guess. And again, I got to talk to a lot of the artists, and two artists really like kind of got to me emotionally, especially the guy with the LGBT athletes. I was like, oh my God! Now I know that there's a gay ice hockey league here in the valley.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to figure out why there's ice hockey in the desert. But anyway, it was so satisfying, and I got to talk to several people who live in the neighborhood, and they just told me how important that park is to them and what it brings to them. It's like that kind of gave me a mindset now on like for the Esperanza Park. It's like, yeah, okay, I get why we need to hear from folks in the community. So, yeah, thank you. It was great. It's really one. And I even had 3 Palettas, so there was a lot of them. So.
I got one.
I would just add my congratulations to the commissioners who worked so hard to make that happen. You guys did a great job.
Thank you. I appreciate that. For me personally, it's what I love about the art world is, being out there every morning with them while they were painting it, watching the process, watching them get to know each other, watch how supportive they were each other. Meeting, several of the artists were from that neighborhood. So they were doing something for their neighborhood. But even the ones that weren't, everybody became family. Everybody became community. And right now in this time, of division and discourse and everything else, it was just nice to have that moment in time where everything was about coming together as a community and all different ethnicities and different ages and different backgrounds, and then to see it all come together so beautifully with the music. And the other part that I got such an enjoyment out of was watching all the kids. They got to participate and paint their walks and do all that sort of thing too. And for one of the artists to step up and do that, every time there was a problem or an issue, there was not that didn't step up or try to help or try to fix or.
Like if somebody's bench got damaged before, while they were still painting, one of the other artists helped fix another person's bench because they couldn't come back into town to fix it. And so another artist did some touch-ups so that it was pristine. So
every one of them, thanked us as a commission because they said, it was they felt very supported. They weren't just put out there, here's your thing, do your thing and that. So that's what we want. That's what we want Cathedral City to be about, is that we really do care about the community, the members, and what we do for this community. So, and then visually, I just think it's amazing. I think we just have some really, really beautiful pieces out there, and I'm just thrilled with everything that we wanted, how it turned out. So,
for a relatively small budget, your total out of the Art and Public Places Fund, that was $17,775, and then the whole event was $1,668.
right.
And that's pretty impressive.
That's a fabulous investment, and the return is going to go on for quite a while. So I'm very, very, thrilled how it turned out.
I was really pleased with the diversity of the artists, both demographics as well as styles and level of experience. It makes me feel really good that we were able to give some people their first experience putting together a piece of public art where they had maybe done commissions for private homes before, but this is their first space that's going to be accessible to everyone, or their first work of art that's going to be accessible to everyone. So I'm really proud about being able to give artists those opportunities that help build their confidence and now have them looking for other ways to continue to engage with art within Cathedral City. I think that was one bit of feedback that I took away from this event, was that folks do really get excited about these kinds of things and they just need to know about them. And several folks were asking kind of what was coming up next for Cathedral City in terms of opportunities for artists. And so I did put in a plug for Esperanza.
What's next? What are you going to do now? Yeah. And that's what I want about people to think about Cathedral City. It's like, what are they up to? Mm-hmm. That we want to be that, like, what could happen next? And it's not predictable. It's like, no, it's always going to be something new and different and interesting. So, what's next? Okay, I think there's nothing else to require on that. Let's keep moving on to what staff comments?
I don't think I have anything else. Again, it's just, this has been a great month to see art going in. I'm excited about the next project, and again, another opportunity to use the arts to engage our community and to build something lasting that's going to enhance our community.
Thank you, Ms. Ann. So now we're going to come to the commissioners' reports. I'm going to start to my right this evening. Commissioner Stouter, anything to report?
Well, I do have a couple of things. The day that the artists were painting the benches, and several of us stopped by that weekend, I also got the opportunity to attend the fire department pancake breakfast with the mayor and Mayor Pro Tem, and that was a great event. And it made me think that, places like firehouses, we've seen this in other cities, police departments, et cetera, can sometimes make for great venues for public art. That particular firehouse just struck me as in need of something. So maybe we can think about that for the future. I was able to attend on October 10th the opening of the Color Show at the Artists Council at the Galen in Palm Desert. I also had a piece of my own in the show. The show just ended. My piece didn't sell. I'm not bitter. I was happy to help Commissioner Travis out with the Library Art Show this past weekend. And finally, under the heading of What's Next, I want to introduce a new project that I'm calling Art at the Amphitheater. I want you to think about the art shows like Desert Art Festival at the River, like the Palm Springs Art Festivals in Francis Stevens Park, like Southwest Arts Festival, like La Quinta Art Festival. Having a festival of that nature here in Cathedral City in the amphitheater. The idea is to hopefully bring an annual art show to Cathedral City that can rival those other shows, but be more affordable for artists to participate. And somewhere else right here in Riverside County has set the bar for how to do that, and that's the Riverside Art Museum. And I'm going to be meeting with them to get more details. Commissioner Travis has agreed to assist me on this project, and so whatever steps we need to do to get that next on an agenda at some point in time soon, I would like to do.
Great, fantastic.
That's my report. Thank you.
Do you want that targeted for the January agenda, do you think? Okay.
Okay. Commissioner Marks?
On October 13th, that was like right after the city council meeting that approved our grants. I went to the Coachella Valley Classical Voices concert, and allowed me to tell Doug Nagel that they were the recipient of our largest award, and he started crying. It was great, and that was really it fulfilled a need again. I see that what they're doing for the community. It was like it was held at the Mizell Center, and it was totally packed. And excuse me, and I mean the talent is all over the map, and there's some opera, there's a lot of music theater, but it's still an opportunity for so many performers to get a chance to be heard, singing wise, but also their voice, all capital letters. There's a little activism in there too, and I just was really pleased with the whole concert, and I said, okay, you got to deliver on Hansel and Gretel, so I'm excited about that. And then I went to the Desert League Theater Awards. Are any of you familiar with the Desert League Theater?
Not.
Well, it was the longest awards program I have ever attended in my life. It was just, it's all of the small companies, a lot of community groups, but there was also professional groups that, I'm not sure who the voting was, who did the voting. I don't know if it's the Academy, but they awarded best productions, but they had it in every single field, there was they had community groups, they had semi-professional groups, but then they also had high school productions. And I'm going, well, that's really weird because I don't know why they were mixed with all these community groups. But interesting, one takeaway I had was certain high schools won a lot more than other high schools, and it was obvious because they have very different budgets, and especially our local high schools. And like that one grant that was from the school for both the band and for the music theater program, that kind of like, it's really tragic that schools have to like ask for outside funding. But I'm glad I went. I won't ever go again, but I'm glad I went. So, and I probably shouldn't have said that. I don't know who's hearing that anyway. Then on October 19th, I went to a Robert Seeley Celebration of Life, and Robert Seeley is he lived here in the Valley, actually in Palm Springs. He is like the premier composer for the Gala movement, which is the gay and lesbian chorus movement. And his music is sung all over the world. He's been here forever. He and his partner, Bob Espindola, they usually wrote the lyrics. He wrote lyrics, and Robert wrote the music. Beautiful music. In fact, my concert I have next month, we're doing 2 of his pieces. But it was like, this town has been down here just in this and here in the Valley for so long, and is so well known outside of the Valley, you know. So I was going, it's a missed opportunity for us, but I'm glad I went to that. I mean, I sang at that too, so it was great. Let's see. Of course, I went to Fourth Friday for Perez Arts District. I love that all the time. On November 2nd, the same day as the Del Cotillo Park kickoff, I went to Dia de los Muertos at the Desert Memorial Park, and I see that as an event that like is being developed, and I was like so touched by it though. It's like I personally love the Day of the Dead, you know, celebrations. It's like, I mean, it's great, and I just hope that I really encourage them to keep growing, and it was great. And there's, you know, several council members were there, and several, you were there, weren't you?
I wasn't. I didn't make it to plan for the other event.
You were there.
I was there. It was beautiful.
I'm really glad I went, and it was a really nice bookend to the bench project that afternoon.
And you were supportive of that event. You gave the Scrap Gallery some funding to help support the arts events for the youth that were there.
I met the director.
Karen.
She's great. So I love what they're doing. Anyway, I think, and I marched in Pride, not with Cathedral City, but Nancy hasn't forgiven me for that, but I marched anyway, and that was great. And then I finished the time at the art show on Sunday, which I absolutely love. I got everyone's business cards. I'm following people on Instagram. They're following me, so it's all good. So.
Fabulous. Fantastic. Fantastic. Great. Thank you. Commissioner Mojica.
Mine will be brief. I just wanted to say that I'm so proud of us and proud of our community for turning out for the Ocotillo Park bench unveiling, and thank you to folks who made time in their day to come out and look at the art. And if they just wanted to say, if they didn't get a chance to see it in person that day, there is a GIS page that Anne and her team put together that's really great, and you can do a virtual tour of the art, so encourage folks to do that. Looking forward to working with Chair Lebo and the community and the PACE committee on developing the plan for community outreach for Esperanza, so really excited for that, and to have that be one of our big projects in 2025. And then I just wanted to say I'm excited to see what comes out of the community arts grants, the first round that went out, as that programming kicks in. I know they have until June of next year to execute everything. So just excited to see that. And then again, if they need any support from us in terms of like showing up and or letting people know that programming is happening, always happy to do that as well. And then the last thing was I saw a couple of artist proposal opportunities from other cities up right now. Yucca Valley is one that comes to mind. They're working on something for their library. I think it's a monument sign that will have art attached to it. So you can see that on Instagram. I'm not sure when that's open until, but I know that that's ongoing right now. And then I want to say Flat Black has an exhibit that they're putting together, and so I would recommend checking out their social media page for this opportunity, but also for other opportunities in putting together art shows on the other end of the valley. So.
Commissioner Mojica and Commissioner Marks, you mentioned the grants, and that was something I did forget about that I could update you on. So I've been reaching out to the 4 recipients to get their W-9s and some other documentation. I do already have the schedule for all of the senior center events, and I'll get that to you. I don't know if I have the dates for the musical with CV Classical, but I'm working with him to get that coordinated. I've asked all of the organizations that have been awarded to make sure that, and I've sent them the logos for the Public Arts Commission logo to be included as sponsorship, and I've told them any flyers or anything that they get, if they would submit them to me as well, that we could help boost that promotion. But when I get all the dates together, I'll send that off to you just so that you can kind of put it on your calendars of when the dates are scheduled for the various events. But I have heard from and at least exchanged emails with all of the parties that have submitted. And basically how it's going to work is they send us an invoice and we just will give them the amount awarded. And then at the end, they'll have to do a report back to the city on how they've spent the funds and how it was used to support the grant that they were awarded.
And so just to clarify, so all these events are going to happen then before June.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be busy spring. Commissioner Travis.
So we talked about the benches. That was awesome. I worked on the Pride float, and they let me ride on the float, which was nice because I was having a problem with a pinched nerve. So that was very nice of them. Made my day go by a lot better. And then I also helped with the 2nd annual dog costume contest at Panorama Park. That's always fun. And then I worked the information booth at the Dia de los Muertos. Did I say it right? Maybe? Okay. Okay. And then last week was interesting because our art show was actually where the polling place was. So they had to break down the polling place, and I had to put up I had a couple friends come over and help me put the racks together because even though they're easy to put together, you need a couple more hands. And that was good. And then the show went off really well. And then I also met with Adam and Ryan and the upcoming Taste and Sounds events coming up. They've agreed to include some artists, maybe 10 artists that could sell at each of those. So we have to work on that.
That's fabulous. That'd be great.
Yeah, so we'll work on that. And so that's pretty exciting. And then I know that they are also working on getting some signage for the Perez Art District, and that's awesome. That's great. Yeah, that's a good thing too. So we're really enjoying that. I think I would, Ann, you know when Ryan sometimes comes and presents to us, could we have him come, like this is where this, could we have him come and talk about how we can help him help us? Does that make sense? Like how it works both ways? Because he's got some great ideas and stuff like that. Because a lot of times when I'm somewhere, he says, I sent him a bunch of pictures for Dia de los Muertos, and then he was able to put them, because he can't be everywhere at all times. So if he could,
Yeah,
I
I'll
think he's
talk
always
about it.
given us, maybe he could tell us how we can help him. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
It's kind of like how I did when the artists were painting benches and I had people there. I took videos and I sent them to Ryan, and then Ryan used them to present the reel. That's yes. So for my turn, what I'm realizing is it's been a very busy fall already, and now that truly is the busy season. We haven't mentioned I'm very excited about the Balloon Fiesta coming up, and with Leanne Rhymes. And what's interesting was I'm around the valley, everybody's aware that Leanne Rhymes is coming to Cathedral City. And every time when people talk about us in the city, that always makes me happy. So I think it's going to be a great event. And then this weekend, we'd mentioned this before, Commissioner Marks, about there's a lot of art events that happen in this valley, and not all of us can be aware of every single one, but the point is that we come together to try to bring these to people's attention. So the one I'm sort of involved with is the La Quinta Arts Festival, and it starts Thursday, and it's one of the largest and best ones in the country. It's in the top 5 in the country. So it opens Thursday morning and goes through Sunday down in La Quinta, downtown La Quinta. So I'm honored that they would ask me again to be one of the judges for that. So that's this weekend. Then soon after that, then we go into the Balloon Fiesta, which I'm pretty excited about. But then going forward after that, it's the Southwest Arts Festival, and then the La Quinta Arts Festival in the spring, Southwest Arts Festival down in Indio. And you have to look, because literally every month there's a major art festival. What Commissioner Stouter was talking about is we need to get on that. Yep, I think there was one in Indian Wells. I'm not sure if it's still happening, but so yeah. I also happened to make it to the show that Commissioner Stouter talked about, and it was an excellent show. There were some amazing pieces. I think 650 people turned out. That's a number that I heard. And I'm always impressed. And it's always a very fun, very artsy crowd. And I get like that fix. It's a really fun, energetic, visually interesting. It's just fun.
What is that again?
What's that? It's called the Arts Council at the Gala in Palm Desert.
It's the Artist Council at the Gala in Palm Desert. It's an artist collective. I can tell you more about it. Sort of.
Yes.
Sort of.
Yeah.
I'll tell you more.
It started out it was originally the Palm Desert like public information center. Then it turned into a wing of the Palm Springs Art Museum, and now it's turned into this arts group. And anybody can become a member. The membership is $75 for a year. They do all kinds of classes, and they even, because you'll know that my job, I'm involved in the healthcare industry, and one of the gentlemen there does classes for people with dementia, Alzheimer's. And I'm just impressed. I mean, their programming is pretty extraordinary, and anybody can go take classes if you're a member. So it's definitely something I would encourage everybody to see and get involved in.
What is it again?
The Arts Council.
The Arts Council?
Yep. At the Galen.
Right.
Yeah, and I think it's just a really fun group of people, and they're just colorful and they're fun. And anyway, so I'm just looking forward. So this time of year is all these events happen. I haven't heard much about the Contemporary Art Fair that usually comes in February, along with Modernism Week. I'm sure we'll hear more of that.
Tickets are already on sale for February Modernism Week.
And a lot of the home tours are probably already sold out, and the parties. And then I'm also trying to pay more attention to all the local theater stuff too, what's going. There's a lot of really great shows happening there too, so.
Right now, TV Rap right now.
Yep. So, it's going to be, like I said, we're just entering that time of the year when it's going to be, I call it time for roller skates. So, and I love it. I love it all. There's just so much happening, so that's all I
Can you give any
have.
pointers on the best way to enjoy myself at the Balloon Fest without getting up at 6 a.m. and going out to Rancho Mirage?
I would say going to the Balloon Glow at night here at City Hall is really amazing.
In that big parking lot by the...
Last year, they did it all around the Civic Plaza, so I'm assuming they would do something similar this year, but I'm not sure. I haven't looked at the schedule of like if it's extending down by the casino, as they're one of our major sponsors, but the Balloon Glow is really pretty amazing.
And along that with the LED light show, it's a combination of things.
Yeah, we'll have the drone light show again this year,
That's right here.
all right here.
Right here downtown. Yeah, it's right here. It's beautiful. I will share with you, so once upon a time I lived in New Mexico and going to the Albuquerque Balloon Festival, which I've heard is the most photographed event in the entire world. One morning, you have to get up early. There's something about being out there early morning with the sun rising and the balloons coming up. You just have to, you get your coffee, your cocoa, you go out there and you just got to, it's like once, because it's just to see all these balloons just go up in the morning, like live, is pretty inspiring. So I would encourage it one morning. That's all I got for now. So, any comments? Or we're done? Christina, we're good? Okay, this meeting is now adjourned.